the senators have said, this issue of pending bills runs across all the counties, all the 47 counties. Mr. Speaker, I've heard majority leaders say that for the last 6 years, but like in Machakos, I'm counting more than 10 years of pending bills being carried forward. Actually, I would recommend that the Finance Committee come up with an amendment law that the controller of budget will not release money to the counties when they have pending bills until they clear all the pending bills, because before they give any work, they have money allocated for that work. And where that money goes and then it becomes a pending bill is a mystery to this House. Mr. Speaker, also the capitation fund, not only for TVET, but for even secondary schools and universities, it's delayed so much. And TVET colleges, institutions, train our youths, and they come out of there when they are people who are useful to do something with their lives in this country, and good citizens with a lot of skills to work. And so their capitation should be released like yesterday, even for universities and secondary schools. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Olekina.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this afternoon I'm at a loss of words as I write to support the statement by Senator Wakoli. Mr. Speaker, I've been in this Senate for now about 7 years plus. And when I came into this Senate, I was told by those who came before me that the Senate pronounces itself through motions and bills. And I was told that if anybody failed to comply with the resolution of the Senate, that person faces various consequences, which include, 1, censure, number 2, even to the extent of being removed from office. Mr. Speaker, we have censured cabinet secretaries in this House for failing to comply on the Senate resolution. I'm at a loss of word as to why we should continue lamenting on this issue of pending bills. This Senate passed a resolution by delegation. Article 123 of the Constitution is quite clear. It says that the Senate shall vote by delegations. 24 delegations. In fact, we had 38 votes, if I can remember. So, Mr. Speaker, this issue of pending bills, it's very simple. We follow the law. If we in this Senate cannot be able to make sure that we stop the funds from going to counties, not talking about amending the laws. Why do we need to amend the laws when the regulations are very clear that pending bills form first charge of account? So it's very simple. Some of us will have to take other extra measures to ensure that they comply, because we are told here that they will only comply if we stop them in court, because the Constitution, if you read Article, I think, 255, it is only the Cabinet Secretary who can be able to stop money from going to counties, but only for a small period of about 90 days. So the only thing we have is now to resort to court, if this Senate is failing, to force the implementation of a resolution of this House, which was quite clear. It said all counties must pay a minimum of 1 billion shillings by the end of the last financial year. So the thing we should do here with the Finance Committee, now that we do not have an implementation committee, is to self-implement. We follow through. We ensure that we check, are they paying, they are not paying. If they are not paying, then we move forward. You know, as far as I'm concerned, you might end up seeing me in court in the next few weeks to compel these counties to be able to respect this Senate. I cannot sit in this Senate if these counties cannot respect. What are we doing here? Majority Leader, can we please move? This is your House. Your motions have got to be respected. We have a bunch of lawyers here, including Chimera, out there. Instead of him taking us to court to try and stop us from getting our oversight funds.
Senator Omtata.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I would like to contribute to the motion on pending bills. These pending bills have basically morphed into a form of borrowing by county governments. Because they are given budgets, then for some reason they end up with pending bills, which then again has to come back to the public to finance. And my Lord, Mr. Speaker, sir, borrowing by counties is regulated by the Constitution, Article 212. And a county government may only borrow if the national government guarantees the loan and with the approval of the county government's assembly. You find that these pending bills are creations of the executive who refuse to operate within their budgets, who are manipulating the IFMI system by voiding what has been approved and diverting money. And I think that the governors who have been in office during when these pending bills were created should not go scot-free. Their feet must be held to the fire, and they must tell us why they are creating a public debt contrary to the Constitution. Because the people of Kenya are being forced to pay for what they should have sorted out using supplementary budgets and similar stuff. So as we go forward in terms of settling pending bills and to dissuade this culture from continuing, I urge that the consideration of the statement goes as far as making recommendations on how to handle rogue governors who end up using their procurement powers within budgets approved by the control of budget to create pending bills. If they don't pay bills, they must face the music. It must not come back to the public to go and pay pending bills. We cannot be crying here about pending bills when the Constitution is very clear on how we should incur public debt. Backdoor public debt should not be paid. It's not a sovereign debt. It's a regime debt. And if the public pays it, the regime owners must be held to account. So I think that this thing of playing around with kid gloves about pending bills will not solve it unless we punish individual governors. Madam Speaker, thank you. When I began to was Mr. Speaker, and I can say to Madam Speaker, thank you for the opportunity.
Senator Karen Nyamo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to speak to the issue of pending bills, Madam Speaker. As my colleagues have said before me, and since I got to this House, this is about the 6th or 7th or 8th time we are having this issue tabled before this House, the issue of the pending bills. While when I see companies like KQ apply for bailouts, we see the government paying off 55 billion, 7 billion, 37 billion, almost immediately. While our SMEs, who actually are the backbone of our economy, and we're saying we want to grow the economy bottom up, but we pay a deaf ear to these businesses who have the potential to significantly affect our economy, Mr. Speaker. I don't know if you are aware that, for example, in Nairobi, Governor Sakaja will not pay Governor Sonko's pending bills, for example. It is out there. It is in public domain. And vice versa. Governor Kidero's pending bills will not be paid. And I wonder, why are we punishing our people for doing business with the county government? We're the ones who should be encouraging this relationship by our young people and giving them hope that the government can be trusted. And the rich people and the big business people take advantage because they're connected. And sometimes you find bids have been floated and only one person, or sometimes not even one person, has been responsive to, has responded to the bid because of the fear that they will not be paid. And that makes the big business people thrive, being the only ones who are doing business with county governments because they are assured of payment, Madam Speaker. I think if we decided to sort this issue of pending bills as a Senate, because it concerns us, it concerns the counties, we can put our foot down and have the pending bills paid as far as the first county government, Madam Speaker, because I don't know if when we're talking about the pending bills, we are aware that there are people, contractors who have never been paid as far as 2013, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Senator David Wakoli Wafula.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa nafasi hii. Kwanza ni kuwapigia pole walioathirika kwa janga la moto katika soko la Toi, na kwamba Mheshimiwa Spika, ni jambo ambalo sisi kama Senate lazima tuangazie magatuzi yetu na jinsi wamejiandaa kukabiliana na janga la moto katika kaunti zetu. Mheshimiwa Spika, ni jambo la kusononesha sana kwa sababu baadhi ya kaunti za Kenya hazina magari ya kuzima moto na vifaa mahususi vinavyoweza kutumika kuzima moto. Hivi kwamba janga linapotokea, yao ni kushika simu, kuuliza moto ulianzia wapi, unafanana namna gani, watu wamejaa ama hawajajaa, barabara inapita ama ipitiki, na huku watu mali yao inachomeka, vifaa vinaharibika na maisha yanaangamia. Sasa ni jambo ambalo kama jumba la Senate tuanze kuangazia mambo ya kujiandaa kwa kaunti zetu kukabiliana na majanga, ili mali ya Wakenya, wanabiashara wa Kenya isije kuharibika. Jambo la pili ni hoja iliyoulizwa na Mheshimiwa Betsiengo kuhusiana na vyuo anuwai, na tunapoangazia miundombinu na jinsi vyuo hivi vinafadhiliwa, Mheshimiwa Spika, ni jambo la kusononesha sana katika kaunti zetu. Juzi tumekuwa na gavana wa kaunti ya Bungoma na baadhi ya accounts zao za benki wanaotia sahihi kwa matumizi ya pesa hawajulikani ni kina nani, walianza kazi hizi vipi, na hii ni ishara kwamba tusipoangaza macho yetu ya jinsi pesa zinavyotumika, baadhi ya vyuo hivi vitatumika kama ng'ombe za kiuchumi ambazo zitaweza kukamuliwa kwa niaba ya Wakenya. Mwisho kabisa ni kuwarai senators wenzangu, wakati umefika serikali inapokaza kamba kuhakikisha utepetevu na tolewa katika idara na mawaziri kadhaa tulionao, hata katika sekta na katika mawizara katika kaunti zetu. Tuhakikishe kwamba ugatuzi na fedha zinatumika ipasavyo. Asante Mheshimiwa Spika.
The last person to comment is Senator Eric Okongo Mugeni.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I wanted to make a comment on this issue of pending bills. And I wanted to inform Majority Leader that if we were to have an honest conversation around this issue of pending bills, it's all about interests of certain governors, Madam Speaker, who will never release payments to certain contractors unless there is something they are getting as a kickback. That's where the problem is. So, Majority Leader, through you, Speaker, we need to have a conversation, a very honest conversation, on how we deal with this cancer called corruption. Because it's all around the interest of a sitting governor. If a new governor comes into office and finds there's a contractor who was recruited by the previous governor, there is that fear that they will not approach them to get a kickback. So they will divert the money that they get in that financial year to pay another contractor whom they are able to cut a deal with. So let's involve all the stakeholders in this industry. We have a conversation with EACC so that they can give us a proposal on how we criminalize this idea of leaving out contractors who were given contracts by the previous governor, but whom the new governor does not intend to pay. It's the same problem Senator Mutinda is talking about, Senator Sakaja. You go to Nyamira, it's the same thing. We are unable to complete our county referral hospital because, Madam Speaker, the sitting governor is not willing to pay the contractor because the contractor was recruited by the late Governor Nyagaram. The same thing with Manga Stadium. You see these things in the audit reports year in, year out. So the best thing is let's